Hi there everyone, good evening. Welcome back to our video, and in today's session we are once again going to cover our daily stock market insights for the stocks you have requested earlier in our Investograms and in our previous videos. I have them in front of us, and let's see how the market performed and how your stocks performed today. Okay, and in the meantime, if this is your first time to watch our video, know that we're doing this every day, and I'm inviting everyone to hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're also updated whenever we have new videos. Okay, so let's start with our PSEI here. And as you can see, for PSEI, we have sustained our performance here at the resistance area. So just understand that we are now very near a resistance, and I'm not saying it will not break that, but because we're already at the overbought level, so there will be a big possibility that the stocks in the index will most likely rest for a while before it continues to rally to the upside. As I feel here, if in case it'll dip, it might dip up to the 5,950 level, and that would be the drop, and it will continue to move higher. This is what we're seeing. Okay, so for now, your nearest resistance would be around 6,568 level. The reason why we said that is because we found this. This could act as a resistance, or it could even reach this level, previous support. Okay, so it's an area which is very near. There's a possibility that it will fill this gap as well. So let's just put that over here as well, just in case it overshoots and establishes a resistance around 6,718. Okay, now let's continue because you requested several stocks today. This one is tech. Okay, good bounce for tech paired with the right volume. So I feel that this is just again a beginning of some more uptrend for this particular stock. We're just starting its bullish movement here. The volume today is significantly higher, so that's a good cue. So if you have not entered in this stock yet, and if you are showing interest in this particular company, I suggest if the market gives you a chance somewhere around 8.02 area, that should be okay. That should be a good haggle. But if you're in it for long term and you can't wait anymore, because we really have no control whether the market will revisit 8.02. It's up to you. Some players are more conservative and they're willing to wait at the previous resistance because there was a resistance here. So it's also possible that it will reestablish a new support in its previous resistance. Okay, so that's for your guidance. But overall, my sentiment here is we will have some more bullish actions for this stock by tomorrow and in the coming days. For EEI, EEI might retrace. This is a sign of weakness. There was a gap up that happened today. So I'm thinking it will rest for a while, probably around this level before it shoots up higher. Okay, 5.46 for me is the nearest area to challenge. So if you want to catch it at that level to haggle a few cents, that's as well that's okay. But for now, it's not yet. It's not that expensive yet, so it's not too late to get in. But if it starts to move higher, as a position trader myself, I will already consider that as an expensive area to start accumulating. But for now, I feel that it might reestablish a brand new support at its previous resistance. This used to be a resistance here. So I'm thinking it might check that as well. 5.46. We're not at the overbought level yet, but we're starting to go near there. But overall, that's still a wiggle room to have the price shoot higher. But for now, for more conservative actions, 5.46 is the support that we see. FLI. FLI Where could be the next resistance here? We are still outside of the Bollinger Band, and the volatility is starting to come out. Okay, volume is still there, but you're already at the overbought level. So how or what's the implication? We have to look for the nearest resistance. Right now, I see 1.21 is the nearest resistance here. Let me see if we have, if I look to the left, let's see if we have a resistance forming lower than that. I see this, so I'm thinking that could be a resistance. Let me go to a weekly chart. So if I look to the left, this is the nearest one. That is also a support. Okay, so I think what we've plotted here is the nearest resistance. Okay, so let's use 1.17 as the nearest resistance in case we'll move some more to the upside. So if you have not entered yet, I'd say let me see your risk to reward, because your possible reward here is only what, 7.86 versus when it dips your it could drop up to this level, 11.87. So your call. Would you like to be more conservative and wait for it to drop first and retrace somewhere here? It's just that we don't really know if it will create that bullish movement by tomorrow. So you're very near your short-term resistance. So just know that in the short term, okay, your possible reward is already more limited because we're very near a resistance. But if you're talking about long-term investing, this is still an okay price. See the big difference in the course of action depending on your objective. Okay, because if I'm now talking to an investor for long-term, minimum of 5 years, perhaps, for them it's already an okay price. Come to think of it, you're still very near your bottom over here. But for traders, for them this will already be a little on the expensive side, because for position traders, for instance, they have already entered right here. But for now, I feel that it might challenge your 1.17. Okay, so if you still would like to enter, make sure to be very, very observant once the price hits 1.17, because we might have some weakness formed right there. Okay. FLI, that's done. DMC as well. Let us see the nearest resistance. That's going to be here, 5.04. And the reason why we said that is because we saw this. This used to be our previous support, became a support here as well, and then became a resistance, and we experienced a breakdown in price, and we're starting to recover. You are very near your nearest resistance. Now, if you want to catch it, nearest support would be right over here. Previous resistance will potentially become your support. So somewhere from 4.46, and if you experience weakness at the resistance area, you can probably start taking profit. And one way for us to measure sign of weakness is something like this. So we were on a rally to the upside, right? And then slowly the body of the candlestick becomes smaller and smaller as we move higher and higher. Look at this. As you move higher until such time you reach something like a cross, that's a doji. That means people are really undecided at that time. So that could also signify a possible change in direction, something like this. Okay. So 4.46 is the nearest support, guys. GSMI. GSMI. Wow, there's a dividend. So I think people who would like to enter for dividend play, they did that today. And probably tomorrow it might revisit, because some people are just after the dividend and then they get out during the X date. So I think that the chances of this stock revisiting your previous resistance and will potentially become a support here, that's really high. Okay, they might give you a chance right at the 31.74 level. Declined by 22% in their revenue Q1, but they had good earnings in Q 2019. March 2020, June 2020. Okay, they're consistently giving dividends, guys. Check this out. So December, January, February, March, April, 4 months. May, June. Wow, interesting. Despite the pandemic, they have managed to gain profit and share a dividend to their shareholders. So let us say this stock is giving out 25 cents, right? 0.25, let's say 3 times a year. So that's a total of 75 cents. And let's say you're able to get it at 33 pesos, then that is 2.2% gain per year just for dividend. Okay, but so far you're very near the bottom. 31.74 is the suggested entry level for now. Okay, still very cheap level here. ACEPH. ACEPH, this is your nearest resistance and you're very near that resistance. So I'd like you guys to observe the price action once that level is hit. Okay, so your cue there is once you see a red candlestick forming, a doji, a shooting star. So those are bearish candlesticks. But I think it will continue to move higher, but it will experience some struggles right here. Now, when it reaches 2.44, try to observe if the pattern of your RSI is still showing the same. This means that the momentum is dying down. As we move higher, less and less are showing interest, meaning they find this now as an expensive stock for trading. Okay, so with that, once it reaches this level and it declines, the possible stop would be 2.28. That's the nearest possible area um, that it will bounce. The reason why we said that is we saw this previous resistance, previous support. So we know that your previous support can act as a resistance when we are on a decline. And we managed to break out of that. However, there's a resistance area very near that right now. So if you like, you can wait for it at 2.28 and then see if you have weakness forming at 2.44, and then that's the time you take profit. Shell PH. Shell PH is just starting to show that bounce. There's a gap up that happened, and I feel it will continue to move higher. 18.74, you're very near that area, unless you want to really wait for this gap to be filled. But I'm thinking the sentiment here is that it might revisit just the 18.77. I might be wrong, but this used to be a resistance here, and looks like this is going to be a strong resistance. And once we are beyond that, it will now act as a support. So 18.77. The next, for me, the next resistance is still high up there. So there's a big opportunity. Let me just add, let me see. Let me add an MA50. this is not the one. Let me just check this. Settings, background, white. I can't find the indicator. Moving average. It's not showing. Interesting. Now let me just go back to our chart. Did I go Shell PH? Okay, I think I talked about this, right? Shell PH, this is the support 18.76. Okay, I think that's the last stock I talked. So your next resistance, if I go to the weekly chart, you have very near that. So this could be a resistance as well. That's MA20. It has to challenge and break that first. Let's use this price level. 22.11. That's the nearest resistance that we see at the moment. Okay, so if you want to get in here, I think that if you just look at it this way, like from here to here, that is a good 16%. If you're okay with that kind of gain, enter near 18.94. MAC, I think, is still going to move a little higher. Somewhere here. This used to be a support, but there was a price breakdown that happened. And so when we go higher, it will first conquer that. I mean, break that and create a probably a brand new support when we get through it. So far you're just what? If you have not entered yet and you're still planning, your gain potential here is very small. 13.36 against a possible drop at this level, which is 5.59. This used to be a resistance right here. So when it drops, it might create a support at that level. So your call, which one would you like? This is already somewhat of, for me, already a FOMO level. So if I am to trade this, I'd wait for the 5.41 to be revisited before I enter. HLCM. HLCM also good breakout play here. Okay, so we are already above the MA20 line. Pair it with the right volume. It's very constricted and we're starting to show a trigger to the upside. So I feel that, brace yourself. There will be some more bullish movement for this stock probably tomorrow and in the coming days. 7.92 is the nearest support that we have. So anywhere from 8.41 to 7.92, that's already a good haggle. MBT. MBT is showing signs of weakness, meaning this is already second day that it validated that sign of weakness because last Friday it was also a red candlestick. So it might drop. Okay, it might drop and revisit your 39 level, 39.20 over here. Okay, so if you want, you can even create a Fibonacci retracement, and this is how you do it. If the stock is on an upward movement, so you want to understand up to which area it will dip and it will bounce. So you go find the lowest point to the highest point over here. So if it drops, so the line we created is very near the green line. So this is it. If it drops, it could drop up to here, or up to here, or up to here. So in this case, 0.618 is very near your MA20 line. So that could be your lowest, threshold. So it's up to you. You would like to wait here, depending on your sentiment. where do you think will this stock drop the lowest? So you have your areas of focus there. By the way, when you plot your Fibonacci retracement, if you added the wick, you should also add it to the upside. So you can have a more accurate findings. VLL. VLL is also starting to trigger more bullish actions, but the volume is starting to, slow down. So I feel that it will continue to move higher, but your nearest resistance could be here. That could be your nearest resistance somewhere. It's an area, so it could be here or it could be here. So 4.30 to 5.09, that's your potential. If you want to wait for a retracement just in case some people will take profit, this one is already an okay price because we already managed to break out of this resistance over here. Cebu Pacific. Cebu Pacific also showed a whopping 13% increase in today's performance, but you have a resistance nearby, which is right here. And I bet you already know why I plotted it there, because of this, right? For 5 days straight, the price was trying to break that level, but there was a rejection that's happening. So that now could also repeat, and we might experience some rejection when the price hits 53.94. However, if it drops, where could it drop? Could be here, right? Could be in that area, 46.93. But I think this is already the bottom right here. So let's see if I go back to the daily chart, where could that be? Okay, it's just right at the foot of this last day's candlestick. So this is your short-term resistance. This is your short-term support. Enter near support. If you experience weakness at the resistance, take profit. Sun. Sun is just still stabilizing, taking its sweet time. So I'd say our support still remains at the MA20 level, which is at around 1.22, very near. Okay, so if you feel that this is a stock worth investing for the long term, its chart is already looking attractive. You're still at the bottom part of the chart, so let's see if volume will start to increase in the coming days. IRC. By the way, guys, really important to engage in stocks where you have the volume. Because if there is no volume, I tell you, even if the price that you want is already up for, trading, there, in a lot of occasions, even if you already placed the order, no one is still buying it or no one is still selling it because the number of trades there is really, really small. Okay, for now, let's go back to IRC. IRC, I'd say most likely it will still respect your support at this level. Your previous resistance right there became a support here, which is still good because you're still very near your MA20 line. So 0.83 is a possible area of bounce. It's actually starting to bounce. We're just trying to make a haggle. That way we can maximize our profit. MWIDE. MWIDE, you are very near a resistance. This is the short-term resistance that we see right here. Okay, so just be extra careful. We're also nearing an overbought level, which means if it's right up there, we're plotting our overbought the 70 area. So anything beyond that is already overbought. Anything lower than 30 is oversold. Look at this. For several weeks, it stayed at the oversold level. So just observe. We might experience something like this again. When we are near a resistance, red candlesticks are starting to form. That's your cue that we are experiencing weakness. HLCM. HLCM, oh, we talked about this. Oh yeah, we did. Let's talk about GTCAP now. GTCAP, this is a resistance area. Let's see, okay? So if a price starts much higher than 512 and continues to move higher, that means we might have some more, this is a candidate of a breakout play. If it starts higher than that, or it even sometimes when we have a breakout play, uh, it does a gap up. But we'll see because you're sitting at a short-term resistance right now. So if it starts 512 or higher, then we might form something like this in the coming days. I'm not saying it will happen in the same day. Goes higher first and then revisits and then continue to move higher. You're also near an overbought. So it could be a decision-making day tomorrow. Home. Home. That's a sign of weakness. Okay. You're also at the overbought. So I'm thinking it will rest. If you're already profitable, consider locking in some profit if you don't want to exit totally. I just feel that it will retrace for a few days. So anywhere from 6.18, but I'm more on the conservative side. 6.18, there's a possibility that it will revisit that. Okay, so these are the stocks we have evaluated or reviewed tonight. Let me know, comment down below if you have some experiences in the stocks we have reviewed previously. I'd be happy to know how it influenced your trades today and in the previous days. Also, if you also have some stocks that we have not reviewed yet, go ahead and drop a comment as well. Maybe I can record another video for you guys. So if you have not subscribed yet, I'm inviting you to also subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're always updated whenever we have new videos. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye for now.